Hello YouTube friends, welcome to The Last Homely House. I've got a job today that I want to share with you. I'm ironing this fabric at the moment that's going to be the backing of the quilt that I made ages ago. It's the beginning of 2026 now, February, and so the sort of cold grey kind of days that we sometimes get, the only thing it's good for is staying inside and doing some quilting. I think that's what those days are for, aren't they? Anyway, I'm ironing this now. This quilt that I made here, oops a daisy, I'm standing on it, is the shadow block quilt that I made using all my scrap fabrics. Well, not all my scrap fabrics. You know, don't you, that I've got hundreds of scrap fabrics. Some of my scrap fabrics. We didn't make much of a dint in the scrap fabric pile, to be honest. But I made these blocks. I made a video about it, shared that one with you. And I made this rainbow colour wash and then did the shadow blocks, which is a quilt that I really like from a distance. It doesn't look as impactful close up, but when you look at it from over there, it looks really quite lovely with that shadow. Now, a lot of people pointed out the mistake I made. I keep ironing. I'm not ironing, am I? A lot of people saw that I'd put one of the shadows on wrong. And as soon as you point out a mistake like that, you can't not see it. And so I looked at it and thought, oh, how did I miss that? It's quite easy to miss when you're in a rhythm of stowing and production line, so this to this, this to this. And I think it's quite easy to get one of those blocks the wrong way round, and I didn't notice. So I'm very grateful to all of you who did, because I wouldn't have liked to have quilted it with that mistake. So the easiest thing now would be to just unpick that block, turn that little shadow the right way round, and thankfully it's right on the edge of the quilt, it's the last row. So I'm going to fix that first, and then I'm going to get this quilt sandwich laid out, but then I'm going to cook some supper. I'm really enjoying, I'm not ironing, am I? Come on Kate, do some ironing. I'm really enjoying warming foods at the moment, soups and stews and that kind of thing. And I eat a lot of salads, but it's not really salad time of year, is it? Not really. I mean, the weather hardly gets above freezing some days. So I'm going to make some food a little later. So if you enjoy watching my cooking videos come together, we'll be moving into the kitchen in a minute to do that. But for now, I'm going to iron this. Okay, there it is, the offending block. So what's the best way to do this then? I just need to change that one, switch it round and sew it in. So I'm going to, I'll just see if unpicking that will work. Okay, let's do this properly from the back. Okay. Okay, there's the offending shadow. I don't know how optimistic I'm being here, but what I need to do then, it was there and it needs to be there. Okay, so I wonder how easy this is going to be. Okay. So it definitely needs to go there, doesn't it? So just have to loosen a little bit of the edge here. I'm making this up as I go along. I hope it works. It should do. Okay. So that needs to go there. It might have been easier just to take the whole block out, but then whenever did I make my life easy? Okay, so we'll do that seam first. And now, let's just loosen that. I've done that. That's better. Now I'll sew these two together. Oh, that looks okay. That's not bad. As my dad would say, a blind man on a galloping horse won't see that. Or another one, they'll never see that from the top of the bus. And it is the right way, isn't it? Yes. I had this misgiving then that I'd actually sewn it on the wrong way round, but it's fine. It's fine for me. That was a little bit easier than I thought it was going to be. So now then, it's about getting everything ready on the table for the quilt sandwich. But before I do that, I want to go and set this food away in the kitchen. So let's go and do that first. So I've just made up a jug full of vegetable stock with this lovely bouillon powder that I like to use. And then I'm warming up some oil and butter. So if you put olive oil in the butter, it won't burn in the pan. So I'm just going to let that melt there. I've put rather a lot in. That's because I like it. But also putting a lot of leeks in there. And leeks and butter are just like a match made in heaven. So that's perfect there. I'm going to put the onions in now. And then I'm going to chop the celery. Perfect. So that's the onions and the celery, but I'm going to chop the leeks and the mushrooms so that they're a little bit chunkier. But these can go in there perfectly now. Okay, leeks next. And the thing about leeks is they can get little gritty bits up between the leaves, and you can't see it so much, and so the best thing you can do really is split it like that. I mean, I can't see any, but there you are. See, look, little gritty bits of leek like that. Not very pleasant in your risotto. These are organic leeks, and so this is nice organic soil. But I'm going to chop them and then give them a good wash. So I'm going to keep the mushrooms nice and chunky. Take the stalks off. Why do I take the stalks off? Do you eat the stalks of your mushrooms? Depends, I guess, how fresh and lovely they look. Sometimes I do. But I'm going to cut these now. I'm going to put quite a lot of mushrooms in because they do tend to cook right down, don't they? I'm just going to give this a little stir here. There we go. Nice chunky mushrooms, all of them I'm going to use. Okay, in with the leeks, in with the mushrooms, and we'll just let that lot sweat down on a low heat for a few minutes. We're not trying to get the onions and the leeks brown, we just try to get everything lovely and translucent and everything cooked through. So I'll keep an eye on that on a low heat, and then I'm going to go back and start the quilt. Okay then, I've got this grey then. Pinning out a quilt is a bit of a skill, I'm not going to lie. You need a really big table, and if you haven't got a big table, there's definitely a way of doing that. I'm really fortunate to have this table because I can pin out something really quite big. I do prefer it, however, when it fits onto the table, and this one isn't going to. I see people pinning out on the floor and doing a perfectly good job of doing that. Loads of different ways. You let me know the way that you like to pin out. Oh, pool noodles. That's something that I wouldn't even know where to start with, rolling it up and unrolling it again. I have no idea how that works. And I don't use spray-based either, I use pins. And I know that sometimes you can kind of thread-based it. I've done that before. But the method that I kind of works for me is pins. And when it's bigger than the table, which it is, this is how I like to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the bottom edge and the top edge, so the one side and the other side. I'm going to line those up and just let the other bits fall over the side. So this bit's here falling over the side, and the longer bit here falling right onto the floor. Okay, now I've got this wadding. I like this wadding. It's cotton and bamboo 50-50. And I buy a big bolt of it like this, and I like it for a number of reasons. It's got a very lovely drape to it. It's quite thin, not a big thick wadding, and I like that about it. So then the next thing battling on with this is to get the wadding on. Now this is double, and the way that I like to do that is, hang on, I'll just roll this up a little bit more, is I'll place it on here. Roll it right up and get it to the end, because what we're going to be doing a lot now is the quilter smoosh, which is where I'm going to be hopefully getting rid of all the wrinkles. So people say about how many inches to overlap this by, 4 inches, 5 inches, and I kind of like make it pretty much the same size really. So I don't like wasting quilt wadding, so I reckon if this is as big as I need it, then I'll make this as big as I need it as well. So I'm going to carefully roll this out. This is double. So when I roll this out and I push the table out so I can get behind it. Whoops a daisy, standing on it there. Oh, lots of smooshing in my immediate future. And I'm going to just roll this all the way out here. The fold is here, so that when I unfold it, it'll be in the right place. That would be a nuisance, wouldn't it, if the fold was at the other end. And then just, okay. Oops a daisy. Lots of smooshing, lots of smooshing. And then, excuse me, I'm going to pull this here until the other end is on the table, which it is. Then I can cut that end off. Just give this a quick stir. It's on a very low heat, but I'm going to put the risotto rice in now. Now, I don't measure this. This is proper risotto rice, not rice, you know, not basmati rice or long grain rice. And so I don't measure anything when I'm doing this. So I'll tip this out. Oh, let's just get rid, that's the name of it there. I can put that in so I remember. So let's just tip this into my hand here and have a look at that and sprinkle that in. And then another one of those, sprinkle that in. And then I just eyeball it and see if that's enough. And it isn't, so we'll put a third one in. That'll do. And now I'm going to just toss all the rice with that buttery oil that's in there and just turn the heat up slightly and let that cook and go back to my quilt. So then roll this out then and just find where the end of the quilt is, and I'm just going to boldly cut this all the way along. Yeah, this is the paper that tells you what the quilt wadding is, so we don't need that because we know. Okay, perfect. I think I'm going to have to order another roll of wadding. Okay, now again, without making anything wrinkle, we're going to just fold this open, and you can see how thin it is. I like that about it. And then we'll just get rid of any of these creases as we see them. There it is, that's fine. And I'm just going to let this fall down the back of the table, because we won't need that for ages. These vegetables and rice are all beautifully coated in the oils and butter now and have started to be lovely and caramelised. And I'm going to start putting the liquid in now. And I like to put a glug of white wine in first. All the alcohol in that will burn off, but it really does give it a lovely taste. So the way that I make risotto, I'm just going to put liquid in until the rice has absorbed it all, and then just keep adding more and more liquid until the whole thing's cooked. So I'll leave that for now. It's on a low heat, and yes, it smells very good. Salt and pepper at the end, and also a big grating of Parmesan cheese at the end as well. So I've got those things ready. The quilt comes in. And then just checking always that there's enough space at the edge there. I'm not saying that this is the only way to do it. I'm sure there are loads of people watching who've got other ways that they like to do things, which works perfectly for you. This works okay for me. Okay, so I can see quilt backing on all three of those sides. And then I'm going to just unroll this carefully. Let's have to stand here, I think. So every bit of making a quilt is like, that's my favourite, I like this bit best, planning it, choosing the fabrics, all of that, binding, that's my favourite bit, I always say that. I think of all the bits though, this is my least favourite, because there's so many opportunities to get this a bit wrong. Just check that I've got that there, yes I have. There was one occasion when I didn't have enough backing on one side and I had to sew an extra strip in. It didn't actually matter, but it was a little bit annoying, and it has made me double check, so like that's very close there. So we'll just make that go a little bit further up there, and that one's fine there. Okay, yeah, so of all the things about quilting, this is my possibly my least favourite. And I'm thinking that when I cleared out all my mum's sewing room after she died, and I was clearing out her sewing room, I found loads of quilt tops. And I think that for her, the fun of making the quilt, thinking about the next one, gathering together the supplies, making the quilt, that it was over once she'd made the quilt top. This bit was like tedious, which is why I found quite so many quilt tops. And I did a series about finishing those off for my mum a few years ago now. So that's in a playlist. We'll put that in the playlist down below. And I finished all her unfinished quilts. Let's just check that's fine. Okay then, so then I'll pull this towards me now. Smoosh and smoosh, lots and lots of smooshing. It's a very nice activity, smooshing. And what I love as well about this part, I've got, I'm not sure how much time I've got to actually sit and quilt this at the moment, because I've got some other projects that I'm enjoying doing. And so it might be then that once this is all pinned together, it's very easy to fold it and just put it to one side until I have got time to do that. Okay, so now we're going to do the pinning. And I use these pins you're familiar with, I'm sure, if you're a quilter. These curved pins here, so that they sit very nicely in the quilt fabric. They just sit in there like that and don't make a bump where that goes. All right, so I'm going to start away. I think because this is so regular with these squares, I'm just going to put one in the middle of each square, because the recommended thing is to put the pins about a hand's width apart. So I could put one in each square and maybe one at the junction of the sashing. Let's try that. And then it's simply a matter of just open up the pin, dig right down to the table or the quilting mat that I've got underneath here. So don't do this on your best dining room table. This table of mine's so cool because I can do all sorts of craft things on it without worrying about marking it or damaging it. It's a really great table and it's huge. Okay, so I'll pin all of this out now. And when I've done that, I'll trim the excess around the edges here a little bit. And that's quite tight there, Kate. It'll be fine. And then it's ready to hand quilt. But I can smell the vegetables cooking, so I'm quite excited about going and sorting out my risotto in a minute. So that's one edge trimmed up, and there's my scrap wadding right there. But this I'll save, and it might be the binding of the quilt. I don't know. I could either bind it or face it. Let's see, what would that look like? Yeah, that would look quite nice. So this could be the binding then, this extra here. Brilliant. I'll do the rest of them now. That's completely stable now, and I can fold that, put it away until I've got some time. Well, it's evening now, and my mushroom and leek risotto is ready to eat. My day's work is all finished, which is great. So I'm going to serve this up now. But first of all, I'm going to grate a little bit of parmesan into it, because that'll be really tasty. Let me do that. Now I'm just going to have a little taste for salt and pepper. Well, that's lovely. The rice is cooked perfectly. Oh, that is delicious. So I'm just going to put a little bit of salt and pepper in there. Not very much. Just a little pinch. A little twist of black pepper. Quite like black pepper. Put lots of that in. And then I'm going to serve that up. Oh, it's going to be delicious. I'll put a little bit of salad with it, and I'm going to really enjoy eating that. So I'd like to thank you very much indeed for watching. It's been a lovely day. I'm really pleased I got that quilt pinned out. It's folded up now, but I'll get it back out again when I've got some time to do some hand stitching on that. That would be great. But for now, thank you so much for watching. It's really lovely to have you here at the Last Homely House. If you haven't subscribed, do that and put your notifications on, because I see a comment sometimes from people who say, "Oh, Kate, you're posting again. I haven't seen you for ages." And that's because you haven't got notifications on, because you will then get notified every time I post a video, because I post very regularly here to the Last Homely House. I also post occasionally over on the Last Homely Garden, which is my garden channel, which has got 20 or so videos over there. And I also post to Patreon every week, and which you're very welcome to go and check out and have a look at. We've got a free week's trial enabled at the moment if you wanted to go and try that out. So thank you so much for watching. Take care, everybody, and I will see you again soon here at the Last Homely House. But now I'm just going to serve some of this up and enjoy